Hi, Patrick. Welcome to Coexistent.
Hello, thank you for having me today. You've been my reason to get up, get dressed, and comb my hair for the first time this year.
Right? I feel like that's just a normal thing, right? Like 2020 kind of came and hit us all out. So, oh, your dog is so
Yeah, you
cute,
just have like nighttime pajamas and daytime pajamas.
right? Alrighty then. So, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Coexistent is a podcast about being neurodivergent. Neurodivergent includes autistic, ADHD, dyslexic, and everything else. So your struggles with being both
Mhm.
neurodivergent and like some of the projects that you're working on, and giving full details about that. So, what's your
Okay.
name?
I am Patrick Samuel, and I'm a neurodivergent creative here in the UK, based in London. I'm a visual artist. I paint, and I'm also a musician. So I play electric guitar, bass guitar, acoustic guitar, keyboards. I write my own songs. I record. I sing. I do the to build a song, uh, but I'm not musically trained. I just know how to use what I need to use, and I just make it work.
That's that's actually really, really amazing. I think the fact that you're not musically trained, because I've had Robin on the show, and I've had other musicians. There's like the autistic musician network, where people come on, and I love it. I love that you guys are so like passionate about it. Um, do
Autism
you choose
power.
right? Like everybody is so like you can get. Like, I think one of the guests they had like different type of like for I don't know, not fingering for their bass guitar, but some kind of thing. I can't remember exactly. But it's always very, very interesting to you
Yeah,
know,
the
to
fretboard.
yes.
Yeah.
So I would love to talk about, you said you were neurodivergent. If we could dive into that. What's your full diagnosis? It froze.
It's basically the whole alphabet: hyperactivity and attention deficit. Um, there's also marked anxiety and low mood, which means I can go really high up and then I can crash really quickly. Um, and I've also got PTSD from various work experiences. Um, and I've also got outstanding assessments coming up for dyslexia and dyspraxia, because I am fed up of bumping into things and not having a certificate saying why I keep bumping into things or why I keep setting myself on fire in the kitchen because the hob isn't on the right side that I need it to be on. Basic things like that. It's being neurodivergent can make your days really interesting.
I love how you explain that, right? Because I feel that when I talk to people and they say neurodiversity, they only think of, they don't understand that when you're neurodivergent, you can be comorbid with other diagnoses. They think
Yeah.
you can only be autistic. And I was like,
Or a
I wish,
savant.
right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's just very, very, it's interesting. And I'm glad you're here, as I said before, and I'm checking my questions. Um, I'm hoping because the Zoom video did get stopped in the middle. So can you kind of
Shall I repeat it?
okay. Yes, please.
Right. My full diagnosis is autism spectrum disorder, ADHD combined. That's attention deficit and hyperactivity, marked
Okay.
anxiety, low mood, dyslexia and dyspraxia outstanding, and PTSD.
Yes. Thank you. I have it now. I will be cutting out the first part. Zoom is really trying to play with me today. Okay. Now, and then my next question was like, how did you get your diagnosis? How old were you when you got your first diagnosis? And when, like,
Oh, it all happened in such a weird way. Basically, we always knew there was something. I think it was very clear from the beginning that Patrick Samuel was not neurotypical. I had all of the classic traits, which meant I went through school years, high school, and tried to get into my first jobs as an undiagnosed neurodivergent, which meant I had a huge amount of obstacles to maneuver around. Basic things from crossing the road to getting on public transport, maneuvering your way through office environments and lunchtime situations with colleagues and classmates. All these things, which as a neurotypical, you pick up the skills, but as a neurodivergent, you just don't know how to maneuver your way through these. And so my diagnosis came quite late, not from lack of trying. It was about 8 years of pursuing a formal diagnosis and constantly being told, well, you make eye contact, you don't look autistic, we don't think you will gain much from having an autism diagnosis. I'm like, what the hell? I will gain so much from having the diagnosis because I'll be able to say to employers, this is why I cannot function at full capacity in a neurotypical environment that you set up in the office space or classroom space because I'm neurodivergent. That's what a diagnosis helps you to do. So I was 37, I think. I keep forgetting my age because every year it changes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
So as soon as you get used to it, it changes. That's the autistic mind for you, or at least my autistic mind. So it came quite late, but I felt so triumphant when I was able to get it, because by the time I received it, I then started to change all of the things I was doing and realizing I cannot pursue employment or a career in the path that I was going because it is way too challenging. Some things are not set up in the world for a neurodiverse person to have success. And I needed to change all of that. So I had to start doing art therapy because by that time I had a suicide attempt. The PTSD was kicking in and I'd lost my job in the most disastrous way possible. And I'd become nonverbal. So I had to start right at the very beginning again. And art therapy was a way for me to show visually what I couldn't talk about verbally. And that kind of got me back into creating music as well, because I also have synesthesia. Synesthesia is where your senses kind of combine together to create lots of kooky things. So when I hear music, I see colors, or when I hear sounds, I see colors, and the other way around as well. So when I create artwork, I can hear it as well. And when I compose music, I see shapes and colors and patterns. So that's how I started doing talks on how my autism and my neurodiversity affects me or inspires me or challenges me. And through that, I got to learn from lots of people that I'd be doing talks to at conferences and schools, how they've had really challenging times trying to get their diagnosis so that they could make those positive changes in their lives as well and access support, tailored medication, and in some cases, full-time care, which are all things that I have now because of my diagnosis.
Yeah. And I think
so it's been quite a journey.
I definitely agree with you. And I that was one of the things that for me, because I'm not diagnosed, my brother was, but I don't know if I'm allowed to tell this story. Probably. So what do you think is your biggest lesson so far?
biggest lesson I've learned?
Yeah.
To take things slowly, because I was always rushing to get to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. But the past year, with everything that's happened in both my personal life, like losing my mom to cancer, and straight after that, the pandemic and the lockdowns, and completely losing control of exhibitions, performances, shows, conferences, all the things that I like to schedule 2-3 years ahead, suddenly all fell apart. And it was like, okay, what do I do now? And I've learned how to just live day by day, to take each day as it comes, to take things slowly, not to harass and annoy everyone around me as much as I would usually. Just to let things happen without trying to push and push and push. I think that's something that's really hard for a neurodiverse mind, that you need to organize and catalog and have everything lined up. I mean, you can see my CDs, you know, and that's what this past year has taught me, to just let go of things a little bit and take it slowly.
Yeah. I was telling my friend, because with ADHD, I practice ADHD a lot. I'm suspecting of ADHD. And I was telling her one of the problems is extreme behavior. So it's either all or nothing.
Yes,
if I can have all of it, there's no in between. And like that means, like, if I want to, I have to be able to connect all the dots, like you were saying before, and see how I'm going to do everything, or I don't want to do it. And so then, like, if I can't, like, it's just a really, really bad, I would say, habit, because then you get into this loop of like, kind of destroying your mental health in the process because you're so anxious about it.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I was learning as well. Like, it's really like I'm extreme, like like I'm transitioning into computer science, and I'm like, I don't want just computer science. I want AI. I don't want I want calculus. Like, it's the extreme version of it all. So, yeah. My next question is, next maybe I'm probably gonna, not have it on my phone. But what are some of the biggest myths you've discovered? What are some of the biggest myths you've discovered so far?
Biggest
myths, like lies, like not true about having your diagnosis?
Let's see. The biggest myths. That I can't do something. I've had that my whole life, that people will say, nope, you're not going to be able to do that because of your color, of your nationality, of your heritage, of your background, of your financial status. So constantly people just writing you off, and being able to believe in myself. I think the biggest myth I've had to overcome is the one that is the limitations that people put on us.
Yeah.
And that's been worse actually since my diagnosis, that you're automatically undervalued, and you have to constantly show that as a neurodivergent person, you're not less, you're different, and in some cases you're more able and more capable than neurotypicals to achieve things.
Yeah.
And that's another myth that I think we all have to try to overcome, and show them that, I mean, look at Greta Thunberg right now.
Right.
Gosh, if she could be president, because the neurotypicals have been running the show for so long. It hasn't gotten us anywhere. So let's give the others a try.
Right.
I
I
think
find
that
that,
is the biggest myth. Yeah. That we
you know,
can do it. Just let us
yeah,
have that chance. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I definitely agree with you. I think that um, there was an interview I was listening to about compassion and empathy, and I feel that a lot of people are trying to say that neurodivergent people are not empathetic. I would say that the opposite
Yeah.
is true. The older the neurodivergent person is, the more compassionate they have to be. They become, right. Like once you get them out of their 20s and their mid 30s, um, because the world's been so hard on them. The world
Yeah.
hasn't given them has not given them enough like an opportunity to really shine. Um, and I find that like a lot of people don't know that. I come from a background where I used to work as a kid. I used to do ABA, and a lot of parents were actually, and this conversation still happens where parents are afraid for their child's future. ABA seems like we're getting to a weird, not weird, but I got out of ABA,
Mhm.
but we're getting to a weird part of like, you know, how do you get wellness? We prioritize the child's mental health, emotional health, like for a child who likes to thin or a child that's oversensory, and also try to get him through the world. Those are two different constructs, right? And so my one of my dreams is that we create a world where you don't have to make those decisions anymore, where wellness is actually at the forefront of like a neurotypical person's wellness is always at the forefront, right? Like they get a career that they can understand, they get all the other stuff, and a lot of the environment is made for them. If they have bad sight, they can wear glasses and they're cool, right? They have computers to get through their day faster. So my thing is, why can't that be the same for somebody who's divergent? And so that's the thing that coexistence does look into. That's our mission, is to bring wellness into the neurodivergent space, and then hopefully push it out to the real world.
You were breaking
So
up a little bit at the last part.
I said coexistence mission is to bring wellness uh, to the neurodivergent community space, and then to bring it out and show all of it to the world. They will see a better light for neurodiverse people.
Absolutely.
Uh, uh, so you are a musician, and I met you through Robin, because Robin has his own neurodivergent label. I have to put that out there. I'm name dropping. You guys will hear me name drop in most of this because y'all need to check everybody out.
I
Probably gonna edit
love
the y'all
name
part out,
dropping
but
neurodivergence.
right, we have to. We
Yeah.
have to. Um, Robin has a neurodivergent label called Tiergarden,
Tear gas.
like a summary of how you and Robin how you got involved with Tiergarden Records as an artist.
2 years and 11 months ago, Robin came all the way from where he lives to see one of my exhibitions. And I met him there with his wife. And we had a look around, and then we went for lunch. It was snowing. And at the time, I didn't know yet that Robin was neurodivergent as well, or that he had this record label to support neurodivergent artists. And gradually, I realized this information was all there for me to figure out, and I just hadn't picked up on it. And over the course of the months that followed, I became interested in putting together an album and seeing if he would like to release it. And at that time, I was only doing instrumental music on my keyboards. And I wrote these bunch of songs that were kind of inspired by magic and my father, who studied philosophy and metaphysics and introduced me to all these fantastic things in the humanities, really. And I realized that somehow I need to sing these songs, and my keyboards needed a bit more. So I tried to teach myself how to play bass guitar, acoustic guitar, and electric guitar within about a month as a left-handed ADHD person. And it became this album. It was my second album,
Aw.
but the first one released by Robin on Tiergarten Records, and it's called Distant Star.
Mm.
And that's how we formed our alliance, I guess. And since then,
I
I've
love
sent
it.
him, I don't know how many unreleased albums of mine he has now, but there was one about a year ago I sent him that was a post-punk album partially sung in Sanskrit and Hindi that was about how I lost my mom. And I so wanted that one to be the next release, but then the pandemic hit. Then we had all these things going on, like the Australian bushfires, the awful thing that happened with George Floyd, and seeing the protests rise up out of that, the insanity of Trump, the insanity of our own government here. And it spawned all of these other songs that I felt was more pressing. I thought rather than focusing on myself, that I should focus on the wider topics. And that became this, and the EP that was released before, because they were about global events, and it was more about voicing my support for communities that I identify with and empathize with as a neurodivergent individual, because I couldn't take part in all of the discussions going on social media, because it was just too overwhelming. There's just, it's really difficult to follow social media for me. And I thought it was better I put it into words and record it in a song, how I felt about what was going on, to show my support.
Yes. I love that, right? I feel I was talking, I think, I'm not sure if I was talking to Robin or Jeff about this, but I think human expression is very, very important, because, you know, we all are learning from each other, and we all have different viewpoints. I felt like a lot of neurodiverse people in 2020 were going through it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was trying to, because Black Lives Matter, when everything happened, like, literally a week before, I got pulled out of my job by a cop for being African American. And because it was an Asian area that I was it's not Asian area, but like that's what's known for. And so I was already burnt out on the whole race thing. Always burnt out I'm beyond always burnt out on the race card, because I just lived through it. I used to live like in a very racist town. And so it's really good that this album encompasses that, so people can actually I listen to music as having a conversation with somebody. Right, when you're because I don't like talking to people because I have a social anxiety, which is so weird right now. But music is my way of talking. Is like me having a conversation with somebody who sees what I see, who's going through the same struggles that I'm going through, and I get to have this conversation whenever I can. You know, so I'm very, very excited, especially for some, because when you're saying nonverbal, I go nonverbal when I'm overwhelmed and I'm just shut down. I can't talk to people. I can't do
this. It's necessary, yeah.
You know, so I'm excited for this to come out as your way of expressing everything that happened through 2020, and I'm excited to see how, not how people respond to it, but I hope that it will help somebody who went through it and is still recovering, because some of us haven't really recovered from 2020. I had an amazing 2020. Shut down, ain't got to talk to nobody. Like, yeah, it's social isolation. But I know a lot of other people have not. My Zoom is about to kick us off in like 7 minutes, and it's like has a little clock to tell me like you're getting kicked off in 7 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So, what are some things? I have one more question, and then where can people find you to support your music? So my last question is, what are some things that you're looking forward to in the future?
Can you repeat it again? Sorry.
What are some things that you're looking forward to in the future?
Making more music and throwing more insane projects at Robin with Tiergarten Records. creating even more insane music videos because it's such an interesting art form. And to just keep developing as an artist and being visible as a neurodivergent creative and supporting other neurodivergent people, that's all. That's my life's goal. Just to stay visible, vocal, and supportive.
I'm excited about that because that, like I said, coexistent, which you want to be added to our group, our little community that's growing, neurodivergent people who are doing different projects and who are rocking it in their own world. We have artists, and it's just not just autism, ADHD. We have people who are schizophrenic and everything else. And so, that going forward, I lost my train of thought and I'm trying to find it. Oh my Lord.
Oh, where can people find me?
Yes.
PatrickSamuel.net, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Find me as Asperger Artist, or on Twitter, Artist Asperger. Tiergarten Records, Bandcamp, Spotify. I think the only thing I'm not on is Snapchat because I can't figure it out.
I'm probably going to ask you to send me a list of all your things, like the links in the description, so people could just click the links. Yeah. The links will be in the description. Also, so I asked you the last time, is there anything else you'd like to add?
You're doing great work. Thank you for being a supportive figure in our community of neurodivergent people, and keep going.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic. I found out fantastical is not a word.
It can be a word. We can make our words.
Right? Okay, so fantastical morning. Thank you so much for joining me for Coexistent. People are probably going to reach out to you. I'm excited to hear more. Maybe we'll have more interviews with you for your next album release because these things are very, very exciting. I was at your party. Oh, I know I missed the party, but I saw the music video. I'm horrible with this time change thing, but I hope.
I wish you a great day. I hope
to see you soon.
Thank you for having me.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.